Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of E-Heroes for those keeping count. This is episode 385, and my next guest we haven't seen since episode 322, so it's been a while, and I wanted to bring her back because we're in a world where everybody relies on their phone, but not as a phone. We text, we FaceTime, we use social media, but we don't actually use it the way it's supposed to be used as a phone. So, as an entrepreneur, we want to be able to cold call. And you hear all these stories. Cold calling is dead. Lead management is dead. So, I want to bring back Jennifer Stewart because she is the queen of cold calling. Well, her team is, and the way she does lead management will blow your mind. So, welcome back, Jennifer, and thanks for being here.
Rob, thank you so much for having me. You're one of the few people that I really enjoy following on social media because you make me feel a lot less alone as an entrepreneur. Everything you post about the way things are done with business and clients, you have taught me so very much about how to handle clients. And anytime I feel like, oh man, I must be such a loser and I'm handling this and I'm the only one. And then I see you post and I'm like, okay, Rob has handled everything I've handled, Rob has handled before, maybe a couple of decades before. So I just want to say thank you for everything that you do for the entrepreneurship community and the way you push and the way you engage and the way you genuinely help people and the way you've genuinely helped me is truly inspiring and makes me feel less alone in a world where even if you do have a team of 200 virtual assistants like I do, and even if you do have a partner you've retired that's home with you all day, it's not the same as having a fellow entrepreneur to discuss what that's really like.
Right.
So I just want to thank you for that. And what a true honor it is to be back.
And, for everyone who's ever experienced entrepreneurship, it is lonely. I stay in an office by myself a lot of times. I talk to myself, I fire myself, I argue with myself. But every day I get back in front of people. Whether I'm creating content, whether I'm writing a book, whether I'm making a podcast. It's important that you put yourself out there. And I think for me, one of the hardest things is to pick up that phone and call people. We don't like to do it. As entrepreneurs, like, oh my God, that's the suckiest thing. People are going to say no. They're going to say, and I had a hard time when I started out. And this is going back 1995. I had my cleaning business, and you think, oh man, you should be calling people. You should be lining up jobs. Because marketing costs money.
It does.
And picking up the phone, what does it cost? Time.
Cost time. Yeah.
But I think you get a better response and you get a better ROI cold calling most times than email, than social media, than anything else that's out there because you're communicating one on one with somebody.
It's true.
You're hearing their voice, you're hearing their inflection, you're hearing their seriousness, or when they're scamming you. You
Yeah.
know,
Hopefully.
the phone can be your greatest lie detector if you know how to use it.
Good point.
But you have to be genuine. And like
Absolutely.
like you said, your team of 200 VAs is calling people all the time. They have to be friendly. You can't be successful with a team that doesn't know what they're doing.
That's true. And we do have hundreds of reviews over the last 10 years. I mean, it's this month, Rob. I've been doing this for 10 years. And
Wow.
where's the time gone? And I've had so many clients now that as soon as someone's campaign is complete, after a couple of months, one of my workers will go, "Oh, so and so came back." I'm like, "Who?" You know, who is that, right? You have so many that after a while, unless they are really extraordinary, you can't even remember, who they are.
Mhm.
And so that's been a big changed from the early years where I remembered everybody and everything, and I knew their kids' names, I knew their dogs' names, and then over a while, it just, the faces kind of blur into unless someone really tries hard and really works hard and really engages you. But
Mhm.
most people, even whenever they're hiring cold callers, they put in minimal effort, right? So I would encourage folks to make sure that they have some sort of key performance indicators for their callers and for their business. And so without that, then you may as well just set your money on fire because at least it's pretty when it burns. And so, there are three things you need to identify: who are you going to call, right? How are you going to call them? What are you going to say? And then what's the outcome that you desire, right?
Mhm.
So we do it for all different types of businesses, but we do it specifically, we specialize in land wholesaling and or just regular single family wholesaling as well. And so you have to pull a list of folks that you want to call, right? You
Right.
always have to have that. You have to have a dialer, and a CRM really helps. I mean, you can find very inexpensive CRMs, even free ones. Sometimes finding a list of people to call can be free, but oftentimes that does have to be paid for as well. But like you said, I mean, cold calling is less expensive than, say, PPC, TV, radio. And as long as people have a phone in their pocket, there's a place for it.
Mhm.
And, I get a deal under contract almost every day, not every day, but almost every day from cold calling leads.
Mhm.
And no is the default. So it's kind of like saying, "Oh, I want to go swimming, but I don't want to get wet."
Mhm.
Now, you're going to get no's, right? So see the no's as kind of like the thing creating the buoyancy for what you're doing,
Mhm.
right? You can't swim without the buoyancy of water. So until you see the word no as just the water that you're swimming through, it's going to be annoying, right?
Mhm.
So, yes, just I'm going to repeat myself on purpose. Not expecting no's is like saying I want to go swimming without getting wet.
Mhm.
You're going to get wet. It's annoying to get wet if you're not expecting it. I mean, if I'm just sitting here on the couch and all of a sudden someone throws a bucket of water on me, I'm going to be pretty livid and just going to throw off my whole day, maybe my whole week. But if I'm getting in the water, then I know I'm about to get wet.
Mhm.
So no is just the default. I mean, think about anyone who comes up to you. If you've got a little Girl Scout or someone selling coupons for their basketball team, they come to your front door. What's your default setting? Even if it's a cute little kid, for most people,
Mhm.
unless you've just got some money in your pocket. And sometimes it's just being as lazy as I don't want to have to go back to my wallet, go find my wallet, go down the stairs, go back to this kid for something I'm probably not going to use and I definitely don't need if it's Girl Scout cookies.
Mhm.
But you want to be encouraging. You don't want the world to be a horribly harsh place for them. But what's most of our default? It's no.
Mhm.
I'm inconvenienced. I don't have time. I don't want to deal with this. This isn't making my life easier. Because few people hit people up at the exact time they need something.
Right.
Even something where, let's say you need to clip your toenails. And you're like, where's the gosh darn toe clipper? And all of a sudden someone comes to the door and they're like, hey, do you need a toe clipper? It's like, actually, I do. And so, see, that's where there's almost always a mismatch on timing
Mhm.
as well as getting the message through. So somebody might need something, they just don't need it right then.
Right.
But when they do, they're going to think of you.
Yeah.
And that's where consistency pays off.
Yeah, we were just down in Disney World, and I like to use Disney a lot as an example because they're just the ultimate marketer. But
You're right.
so we're down there, and it's freezing cold, and they bring out these hats and these gloves and these scarves, and you can go to Walmart and get gloves for what, 5, $6. I mean, the cheap ones, and these were not any more than a Walmart glove. They're $20. And a
Right.
scarf that
Yeah, right.
and a scarf that's normally, $4 or $5 at Walmart is $25. I'm like, "What?" But
Yeah.
you're there, you're a captive audience. Of
Your
course
captive
you're gonna
audience.
shop. You wanna stay warm, so you're gonna spend the money. And
That's
and,
right.
we go back to the Girl Scout cookies is that, Girl Scouts are They sell product, Girl Scout cookies, and everybody knows when they're gonna be coming in around, and there's gonna be people that, "Oh, I don't have the money." The Girl Scout, that came around our neighborhood already had an attachment on her phone to take a credit card.
Oh, that's
She
genius.
she was ready, and I
Yeah.
bet I bet she sold hundreds of cookies that day, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
Not only do you have to be ready, but you have to be prepared,
Well said.
So, we as entrepreneurs, we think, "Okay, these are our terms, great," you know? But you're always gonna have somebody that comes out of left field that surprises you, but if you're prepared for them, they're gonna be a client for life,
Good point.
you know? And so, yeah, I was just looking at your story, that you posted, I think it was yesterday, where you said after an hour being on the phone with a war hero, they decided
Yes,
to they decided to go with you. And and
that's
and,
true.
and a lot of people don't wanna invest the time to get to that sale. We're in a day and age where callers are calling, and as soon as they get resistance, they hang up.
That's true, yeah.
So, I'm sure your team and they're with guidance from you, they're learning, to take the time to understand the customer, to get to know them.
And it helps when you're getting paid hourly too.
Yeah.
Because as an entrepreneur, it can be pretty depressing to do that work yourself. It's kinda
Mhm.
like cleaning your own house, it's a complete drag. But if someone's getting paid like, if you were getting paid whatever it is your hourly time is worth, Rob, I'm not gonna put a number out there, whatever it is in your head. If someone said, "Hey, Rob, will you come clean my house for that amount of money? And, by the way, I have all these other people who need you to do it too. So it's gonna be full time." And you're like, "Oh, wow, that's way simpler than my business. Are you kidding me? Of course I'll do this." So that's my people in the Philippines, right?
Mhm.
They all have minimal accents, advanced degrees, so they sound almost American. And so they are extremely happy to make what they make.
Mhm.
Extremely happy. One of my guys went to law school and came back and still decided to work for me because was making more with me than he was being a lawyer in the Philippines. And so he's extremely bright and he's always full with clients. And so, why do something yourself that someone else could do for you? Only because, like you said, it takes a ton of time.
Mhm.
And when you're an entrepreneur, and here's what I see when people try to cold call themselves, they get very discouraged
Mhm.
because you have to put in a lot of time usually, even if we're calling on, say, like PPC, because I'm not just talking about cold calling for lead gen, I'm talking about calling that involves lead generation, lead management, as well as closing over the phone in whatever industry it is. Could be, we've had everything from solar and roofing, lighted mirrors, janitorial services, rubber used for tires, animation services out of Israel. I mean, I've had clients literally all over the world in the last 10
Wow.
years doing all different types of industries. I just happen to specialize in real estate because that's what I do, but half my team are generalists
Mhm.
and the other half specialize in real estate. But I was a generalist myself before I specialized in real estate. And so had gun will travel. You pay me to sell something, I'd sell it. I just need a CRM, a script, a product, an end game, let me know, and then boom, you pay me hourly, I'll do it. And that's how I got started. And so, why shouldn't entrepreneurs do it themselves? Because I think they'll burn themselves out
Mhm.
big time. You should be doing the highest leverage activities. You should be calling only on the hottest leads, no matter what your business is, and closing them, if anything. And then let your team for a low hourly wage, which my people are 13.50 an hour, and that's really low compared to an American median, living wage.
Mhm.
Plus, you want competent people. I mean, you don't want low IQ folks who aren't invested in having a successful life. I mean, you want people who really need to be successful,
Mhm.
representing your business. I don't care what your business is. Nobody needs stupid people on the phones representing them, right? So all my people are extremely bright, extremely personable. They know how to navigate a conversation. And I haven't cleaned my own house since I was 18, except for for a short while as a housewife because we were so poor during that last recession, as I'm sure many seasoned and mature entrepreneurs can relate to.
Mhm.
And but other than extreme recession and being a new mom and not wanting to work and that just being a trade-off, I don't clean my own house. Not because it's beneath me, but because it's not my highest and best
Right.
use. That's which is a totally different thing,
Right.
right? And then
Now,
same thing,
now let me
there's no entrepreneur where
let's
cold
sidetrack
plunge
that
their
just a second
highest and
because
best use.
right, and I understand all that, and but here's the thing: I love to mow the lawn. It is not my best use of my time, but when
Yeah.
I'm mowing my own lawn, because I push mow, I don't get on the tractor. I don't.
You push
I
mow?
I push mow
Wow, really?
because that time, that hour and a half that I'm push mowing, I generate my best thoughts. I put my headphones on, I push,
Yeah,
and I'm as because yes, mowing is not the most glorious job out there, but it allows me to think. It's like yoga for some people.
right, or like a Japanese bonsai garden or
Yeah,
something.
I
You're just
meing,
clipping the
I
bonsai
think you
trees
need
and
I
raking
think
the
you need
rocks.
one thing that, puts you in that Zen state, that zone that allows you to think clearly.
I
Lawn
love
mowing
that.
has always been that thing for me. But for other people, pay someone to do it, because
Right.
it's not fun, you know? I've but I've written my greatest books, I've written my
That's so
greatest
cool.
blog posts and come up with inspiration because I'm mowing the lawn.
It's
Now,
beautiful.
I think that for other people, you know, I don't work on my cars anymore. I don't change the oil. I take them to someone else because
Sure.
I don't wanna do it, and it's not good use of my time. But I do think that there's one thing that everybody should do that puts them in that thinking area of their life that generate them more income. We have ducks, you have chickens.
Yeah,
Mm. Um, I just, I like to watch them. I don't like to
I do
feed them.
too.
Just, but yeah, I think that everything should be on a dollar figure. Put a dollar figure on everything that you do.
Because it is, as an entrepreneur, it is. You're not a W-2 wage worker.
Mhm.
Those people, God bless them, they can clock out and do whatever they want
Right.
because, they're getting paid no matter what. They have to show up. Worst case scenario, they get fired, they have a jerky colleague, and honestly, I do not covet the commutes, especially with the ice that we're dealing with right now, right? And not that entrepreneurs don't have commutes, but a lot of us don't.
No, a
And
lot of us don't, and we've figured out a way to monetize our time, so we're not traveling
that's
so
right.
much. Now, granted,
Exactly.
we do know a few people who love to hop on a plane and fly here and there, and that's great.
Yeah.
They're doing deals, they're making money. But if I can make money sitting in my house, I'd prefer that.
Oh, yeah, and yeah, I don't know if it's me getting older or what it is, but I guess there's just nothing that I really wanna see unless it's natural beauty, right?
Mhm,
I mean, one of the benefits of society, living in society, what we're discussing is we have the luxury of even thinking in terms of highest and best use.
mhm.
In Alaska, in the remote parts of Alaska, do they have the luxury of thinking highest and best use? No, they have to do it all. And it's kind of similar whenever we go to the national parks that we like to go to. I mean, they're so remote.
Yeah,
If you have to call 911, they'd be calling in a helicopter. You really have to do so much on your own in these places that we like to go to in the summer, in the redwoods, etc. There's really, I mean, the closest hospital for where we like to go for the summer is about 7 hours away. Like they have to basically care flight you from Northern California down to Stanford is the hospital everyone goes to near San Francisco, right? So,
mhm,
um, that's not convenient. I would not want to live like that long term. I think it makes you grizzled in a way that I personally don't wish to be grizzled.
mhm,
But the only time I prefer to travel now, Rob, is for things like that in Southern Oregon and all the
mhm.
waterfalls and the hiking and the nice temperate climate. But the cities hold no novelty and no curiosity for me now. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's just me becoming an old crotch or what. But when I was young, I loved to go to the cities.
Yeah.
And now I'm just everything that I used to need to go to the cities for, money, business, connections, that can all be done online. Everyone says, "Oh, no, you still have to go to these in-person things." And I have not, I'm going to be the anti-hero and say, that is not true.
Mhm.
70% of the money that I have made as an entrepreneur has been from online, from Facebook, and a tiny bit from Instagram, little bit from, podcasts like this,
Mhm.
and well, actually a lot, sometimes. So I don't think we need to travel anymore for business.
No.
And the
And,
people.
you threw out the 70%, the 80/20 rule is
Right.
80% of your business comes from 20% of your outcome
Well said.
or output. And so if I'm producing, 80% of my money by not going anywhere, then that's what I'm going to concentrate on and forget all the rest of the stuff that wastes my time. I events are great,
Right, which is why you don't see me speaking
right?
at events really
Right.
anymore
Events are
because,
great, but
it's not necessary.
I've gotten more from talking to people in the hallways outside of the event than I have actually
Exactly.
gone in. So,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I just flew all the way here to speak to someone in a hallway.
Pretty much,
No,
yeah.
I'm just stay home. And then
Yeah.
with
But
all the airplane.
the airplane, oh, yeah, the
um,
airplanes right now. And you know what I think it is, Rob? I've looked at some airplane, flights, and I'll be transparent, I haven't flown in almost 3 years. We do a lot of long road trips now, but I used to fly all the time, which is probably why I don't want to do it now. Because it used to be this luxurious, where I don't know, I just felt like there was a little more. It seemed like it was more of an activity that you did if you had serious disposable income. So in 2006, I used to fly to New York City every other weekend just for fun from Dallas because I had friends out there who were actors, etc., that I'd gone to high school with, and we were all in theater. I don't know if it shows or not, but they had gone on to pursue theater, and I was in college, and so it cost me $500 every other Friday. If you want to go to New York City now, I'm pretty sure it still costs the same or cheaper 20 years later. Or I was looking at flights just to get the heck out of Dallas before the ice came. But I was like, no, I have to stay here and man the pipes. And it was like $200 or $300 to fly to Florida. And I thought,
yeah.
God, that is so cheap.
And
So
they're eliminating a lot of the direct flights. So,
are
it's like,
they?
okay, I'm gonna have to get a layover in Charlotte or a layover over here, and then you get to the layover and they cancel your next flight. So now you're in the middle of nowhere. It's like
Right.
crap. I could have, So, sometimes it's just easier to get in a car and drive 16 hours and be where you
Like you
want to be.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because we ran this event down in Disney World, taking entrepreneurs down to Disney World, and uh, driving was a better option than flying.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you did. It's
So,
nice to see the country between the big cities too. You see the actual country and not just when you go from airport to airport, it makes you feel like the whole world is just one big city.
yeah.
But
Well, and
it,
we got the opportunity to stop in at Buc-ees, and I don't know if
oh
anybody
yeah,
has ever been at a Buc-ees, but we have small convenience stores in Pennsylvania. We got Sheetz, we got Turkey Hill, we got Wawa. Oh my God, you go to a Buc-ees and it's 10 times bigger. The bathrooms are cleaner. You got 100 pumps to
it's
choose from,
amazing.
and it
You'd
was
never
like,
see a Buc-ee's in California.
it's like crazy. But yeah, I mean, here you have
Rich.
a convenience store that people go to because it's of a reputation, just like Disney World, right?
Yeah, you talk about marketing. Buc-ee's
But
is
Buc-ee's
totally.
is
You
seriously
can't even get it. Even though they're massive, there's like hundreds. It feels like hundreds and hundreds of pumps, and we have one just down the street here.
Mhm.
Um, because Texas is just a perfect place for Buc-ee's. There's lots of open space and not the crazy rig. So when you go to a bathroom in California, There's one bathroom behind lock and key. You got to go in there
Mhm.
and beg someone for a key. It's single bathroom. There's usually a lot of people waiting, and when you get in there, it looks like something that out of that movie Train Spotting, where he's in that horrible bathroom and he goes down there to get the heroin. Every bathroom is a Train Spotting bathroom in California. And then I'm taking kids and we're having to ignore all the expletives. And like, one time I was taking my little Adam who was 8 at the time and it said free math was carved into the back of the so it's just so crazy there, even though the
Yeah.
nature is
Those are the
beautiful. So yeah,
bathrooms where
Buc-ee's
you
is a
get
blessing.
yeah, those are the bathrooms you get hepatitis in. I don't want that. No. So so let's go back to lead management, it's something that you've curated over 10 years.
True.
You've specialized in it and you've become awesome at it, and so what do you do when after your VAs call these people, what's the next process?
Yeah, so we'll get down to business there. As you can tell, I guess my brain was going anywhere but there. So let's get down to business. All right, so with that, the first thing you want to do is with the lead management, right? You want to generate a lead. What's a lead? A lead is someone who raises their hand and says, "I am interested in your services." Even to a minimal degree, depending on the client. So the clients can set the threshold for, do we want, hot to trot, ready to go yesterday, desperate, heaving bosom, just ready to go? Or is it, yeah, whatever, dude, maybe, right? So that the client sets the tone for, what do you consider a lead?
Mhm,
Then we have lead management. Lead management is necessary when someone says, "Hey, Rob, yeah, I might be interested in 3 months because of XYZ." We're looking for specificity here. We do not want to follow up with dead leads. That's
mhm,
horrible. It's depressing, waste time, money, and I hate wasting time and money. It's my biggest sin in my own little Jenny Bible in my head, is wasting time and money. And so the only reason we follow up with people is because they have mentioned something specifically to where we know that this is someone, if we follow up with them, there is at least some specific reason, some specific problem that we can solve for them.
mhm,
We do not follow up with people, no matter the industry, who just say, "Oh, yeah, maybe in 3 months." Okay, we need to know why. What's going on in 3 months? Is your son going to college? Are you having your dentures removed? Are you getting a new car? Like, what's going to happen in 3 months to where this is going to be? Are you considering new suppliers? You've got a new fiscal year, and so your team's looking for new vendors for your new fiscal year. Whatever business it is, we need to know specifically, why do we need to follow up with this person? What about this person made us feel like this was closable? It's just that the timing was off. Okay, back to the toenail clipper analogy. Someone comes to your door and says, "Hey, I've got these toenail clippers." And you're like, "You know what? I'm good. I'm good. I just lost, I have my toenail clippers. I'm completely good." But then, but they say, "You know what? I do like to clip them. So, just kind of keep me around, and mine's kind of old and rusty and probably might need to get rid of it, just not right now, right?" And so then you'd say, "Okay, well, this guy, he was really interested in, the fact he said his was older. He said that he is a regular toenail clipper, but his toenail clipper is a little old, a little rusty, and he doesn't like sharing it with his wife or his kids, right?" So the point is, I'm making ridiculous examples because that's what people remember. The
mhm.
more ridiculous your example, the more people remember. And so anytime I'm teaching, I use really outlandish, wild, ridiculous examples within the realm of being appropriate as much as I can for the audience, right? So, I mean, you can get really ridiculous, but then you're offending people, so you got to keep it within that line. And so that's the art and science of follow up. And then you have cadence. How often do I call this person back?
Mhm.
So I've learned that with people over 70, things change quickly. And so you need to follow up. Let's say I say, "Hey, Rob, I'm going to call you in 3 months." With an elderly person, cut that in half because things change quickly for elderly folks.
Mhm.
Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong, not saying it's fair. Also, with prospects who are over 60, you cannot assume, or even 65, You cannot assume that them staying on the phone with you a long time is a sign of being closable as it is for people below a certain age. Now, of course, there's gradations there, right? But as people get older, unfortunately, in this country, we tend to shunt them aside, which I don't do that. Okay. My family, the way we grew up, we had multiple generations in the house. We had great grandparents nearby. I don't believe in shunting the elderly away.
Hmm.
Maybe because I have, working class roots. That's just not something the working class does. We don't shunt our elderly away. And I don't blame people who do. That's just not me, right?
Hmm.
And so with having all different types of generations around you, you have more people to talk to. But with more and more elderly being isolated, don't assume that just because someone who's over 70 or 65 or whatever your threshold is talks to you for a long time that they're closable, right? So that's the two thing about marketing to elderly folks is, be careful how much time you spend with them because they'll go on and on and on and you have to be polite and you have to cut them off. And then you get to the end and you just figure out that, hey, they're going to have their son or daughter, deal with this anyways. You're not even talking to a decision maker. And things change quickly for them, right? So you need to follow up with them more often. So that's an example of cadence. How often do we follow up with this person? And that's going to depend on their situation and their demographic. A lot of people don't think about demographic whenever it comes to follow-up cadence. And then you have the last step, which is closing them. So a lot of times, I'll just be frank, your workforce is not always going to be as good at closing as the entrepreneur themselves.
Hmm.
That is the true final and holy grail of any entrepreneurship venture is, can you find someone who can close well enough to keep your doors open? And I will be honest with you, I've never been able to replace myself in that department for my agency clients. Now, I have been able to replace myself in that department with wholesaling, right? I did have acquisition managers in 2022, and they did okay. But I was so busy doing other things, I wasn't able to manage them properly. I was too busy with my agency and with going around speaking around the country and things like that, back whenever I did more of that. And so with wholesaling, it's easier to replace yourself with an acquisitions manager, but it's still difficult
Hmm.
because a lot of times anyone who's good enough at closing, and here's the caveat that almost no one says out loud, at least not loud and proud. By the time you find someone who's good enough to close for you, who's an American, you're training your competition,
Hmm.
period. Right? Because if they can close them, then why can't they just do what you do? But with a Filipino workforce, you don't have to worry about that. I've never had a Filipino in all these years go out and go, oh, I'm going to go out and compete with you. This is not how their culture works. I'm sure there's exceptions, but I've never seen it.
Hmm.
And so that way you kind of have a more secure and stable labor force. And of course, there's Egyptians and South Americans. I just happen to prefer the Filipinos because I find them to be extraordinarily loyal,
Hmm.
which is huge because you really can't have a passive business without a loyal workforce.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's what we
Um,
bring. We bring top rated freelancers who are loyal, who show up every day, 7 days a week. Although I tell them to take Sundays off, most of them still work Sundays, even though I tell them not to. I take Sundays off. Saturdays I just do payroll, but like you, I mean, I work every day but Sunday.
there's days where even last night, my phone went off at 1 o'clock in the morning, alerting
Oh
me
wow.
to someone was trying to hack into my client's site. And I have all my clients on their websites. I have programs that will alert me when hackers
Oh,
try
that's
to
good.
jump
Yeah,
in. And
right.
so immediately I went to the site and they did get in, but only to an area where I guess somebody had an old password
Oh
that
no.
got on the dark web. Well, so they were able to get into that account, but that account I had already flagged it months ago as a subscriber and not as an admin. So they couldn't do anything after that. So I went in and just deleted that account and blocked their IP.
And you had to do it immediately.
I had to do it immediately because they could
Yeah,
have gotten further.
right.
And so, as an entrepreneur, I do things sometimes I don't want to do for the benefit of the client. I don't want to get
Of
up at 1
course.
o'clock in the morning, but I do it because I can do it faster than everybody else. You
I
know.
just hope they appreciate it. So one of my challenges, Rob, is I feel like I do all this stuff and I still have folks who cancel and say derogatory things. Now, mind you, I have hundreds and hundreds of five-star ratings,
Hmm.
but that doesn't mean there aren't enough of them to where sometimes it's made it so I don't want to go the extra mile sometimes because I feel like, is this person even going to appreciate it?
Right.
Now, if I know that the client is someone who will appreciate it, because we've built that rapport and I know that, I am thrilled to do it. Thrilled to do it.
Hmm.
But there's so many times where I did things on the holidays for clients instead of spending time with my family, instead of playing chess with my son when he asked, I was, making sure a client's campaign was set up, and then they just end up canceling a month later, even though my team busted their butt. And so I've learned, you know what, this is my work time, this is my play time, this is my rest time. And I try not to mix them because I feel like all the times whenever I did things for clients and gave up something that was precious,
Right.
it
Yeah.
wasn't appreciated.
And what I've done over the last probably 2 years is institute a bunch of policies that I get people to pay me 90 days in advance. And
You've
and
told
and
you've
you
told
know,
me about that and I had
right.
forgotten.
And the reason I do that is because I put a lot of foundational marketing
Yes,
work into their accounts. And a lot of times I tell them, I said, look, I gotta destroy everything that this other marketing company did for you and rebuild it. And you're expecting
right.
instant results. So
I know,
if
it's so
if I
painful.
if I you pay for 1 month and it doesn't work the way you think, and you cancel, and I built all, you gotta wait 90 days to get.
Yeah, I try to tell them that all the time, yeah.
After
It's a
90
90-day
days,
thing.
then you can cancel if you wish, but you're gonna start seeing the momentum start picking up, and you're making money, but they don't wanna wait. And
I
so
know.
and another thing is those first 90 days, you can't pay me with a credit card. You gotta bank wire the money because I want skin in the game. I don't wanna be back charged because you decided, "Hey, after 30 days, he's not working." I am working,
I don't think
you
I've
know?
ever had a back charge, but I also am told that people are scared of me, which is weird. My team is like, "Jen, I think the clients are scared of you." Which if you cross me once, then usually you see why. But I'm not scary. I'm just firm, and it's not like I have like an army of hitmen. I have an army of cold callers. So I don't understand how that's scary, but I have been like I've never had anyone do a back charge, and it might be because I mean, really, I would be all over them like bees
Mhm.
on somebody. I mean, it wouldn't be good, Rob. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
would fight to the bitter end. And maybe
Look,
people know that. I don't know. Or maybe I just haven't been in business long enough, you know?
well, I think you've experienced a lot of the pains and sufferings and frustrations that every other entrepreneur goes through, but you've done it quicker. And you have stories that you could
Yeah.
tell, and you have clients that are probably not worth having. We've
Not
all
so
been there.
many anymore,
Right.
thankfully.
You've learned to be picky and choosy on who you
Very much
accept.
so.
Yeah.
There was a guy the other day, I said, "You know what?" He's like, I need to see this, 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 and this. I said, "Here's my website." And he's like, "Well, I need to interview all of your people." I said, "You know what? You sound like a complete pain in the ass, and I don't need that business,
Mm-mm.
and I'm good." He's like, "Well, I don't make as much money as you, so I have to be picky." I said, "You know why you don't make as much money? Is because you're a pain in the ass.
That's right.
You gotta be cool. You gotta be cool to work with. You just the best way to be in business, no matter what your business is to be cool and be competent.
Hmm.
I'm cool, I'm competent, and if that's not enough, then the problem, could be the other person, right? Now, I also do take coaching. I made a mistake yesterday as I was on a call myself, and I offered a guy too much money, according to my partner. He's like, "Jen, why'd you offer this guy this much money?" I said, because she told me to. He said, no, no, I told you to say hypothetically if we were to offer that much. I'm like, what do you mean hypothetically? I'm on the phone with him and I'm getting like quarterback texting from you. How else am I supposed to read that? I thought we were able to come up to this guy's offer, you know? And he's like, no, no, I just meant it as a thought experiment. I'm like, F your thought experiment. I was prepared to keep him at 18K, like what we talked about. And then you're like hypothetically wanting him to come up to this price. So I'm so confused. But because I value that relationship, Rob, I just had to go, help me understand where I'm confused about you saying that we can give this client exactly what he wants. Like what did I miss here exactly? And so I have to state, just because I'm cool and competent doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to be coachable,
Yeah.
right? So maybe that's another C.
Yeah.
Cool, competent, and coachable. We have to. Once we stop being coachable, we're dead in the water. Once we stop being competent, obviously, cool, and then confident too. So cool, confident, competent, and coachable,
Right.
right? We have to be all four. And confidence comes and goes. And so we have to put discipline in the place of confidence.
Yeah. For me,
Does that make
I wrap all that into sarcasm, and so you either like me or you don't like me, but I don't care. This is who I am.
yeah.
30 years of being an entrepreneur, I've become cynical, I've become sarcastic, I've become, probably this cocky pain in the ass that nobody wants to deal with, but
No, I
I
don't
get
see
the
that
job
about you at
done.
all.
Yeah. So
You're
how do
not you're not
people
cocky at all. You're very humble and very helpful.
I try to be, there are people that will see things differently. So
I
how
The
do
only
people
way I
find
could
you?
see
Where do they go?
someone taking you differently would be if they were trying to grift you or something, you know?
Yeah. There's some people out there that try. So where do they go to find you?
Yes, so if you need cool and competent cold callers, lead managers, and appointment setters, you're welcome to go to jen@reidatasource.net. Email me there. And I also have an agency on Upwork, and it's called Phone Phoenix Agency. Let me get you that website real quick, Rob. I just see you so much as a friend that I usually would have all this pulled up, but I take it as a compliment, right? I didn't know we were going to talk about exactly, and I wanted a friendly chat with my friend Rob.
And
And
I
oh
never
yeah,
know
I
what we're
guess I
gonna
better
talk
do a
about
little
either. I
business
don't have
too.
an agenda when I get on these things. I just roll with
yeah.
it. And
All
I think
right, so
that's where the funnest conversations come.
you're exactly right. So if you go to upwork.com/agencies/phone Phoenix agency, you will see my agency page and you will see hundreds and hundreds of jobs completed with 5 stars, very few 1 stars. And what's funny is the 1 star ones, like they only did 3 hours and then, so you could tell they didn't take their business very seriously. But yeah, so there's jen@reidatasource.net and then upwork.com/agencies/phone Phoenix agency. And feel free to find me there. And you can see all of my cold callers there. You can see videos of them speaking. You can see the projects they've worked on. You can see all the different things that you'd want. It's kind of like without sounding grandiose, I try to think of myself as like the Amazon of sales labor. You can just go online and order whoever you want, whatever kind of avatar of person you can possibly think of for the most part, and hire them to do sales for you. These are people who love what they do. They do it full time, and they've been doing it for years and years.
Wow. So there you go, folks. Go find Jennifer everywhere on Facebook, on her websites that she listed, and I'll put
Yeah,
one of them down below.
thank you. Yeah,
And
Jennifer Steward, if you want to
just
find me on
just
Facebook.
tell her I sent you, or you heard her interview on eHeroes, and I think you're going to be impressed with the results because when you have that many cold callers out there representing you, you're going to get results. And these are just not generic cold callers. These are trained by Jennifer, and yeah, you're
I've
just
got
gonna,
about 15,000 hours on the phone over the last 10 years, so that's
It's a
It's
lot.
a lot.
Yeah, that's about 14,995 more hours than me because I hate talking to people. So we'll see you guys on the next episode. Adios.
Thank you, Rob. It's so good to see you again.